let's look at how we can read and write Roman numerals. So here's our key over here. M is 1,000, D is 500, C 100, L 50, 10, X is 10, V is 5, and I is 1. Now, there's two rules that we're going to think about. I mean, there's more than two rules with Roman numerals, but for right now, for this 5th grade, we're looking at when the numbers, or sorry, the letters are consecutive, we add them unless we have a smaller number in front of a bigger number, and then we subtract. Okay, so when I first look at a Roman numeral, I'm going to look for any numbers that are out of order. So I have XX, those are in order, and then I, and those are in order as well. So I don't have any subtraction here. I can go ahead and add. So that will give me my tens, and this will give me my ones. I have 10 plus 10, which is 20. And I have 1, 2, 3, which is 3. So my number is just going to be 23. Okay. Now, instead of just writing a 2, you could write 20 plus 3 like that if you wanted to. All right. Either is totally fine. Let's look here. We have L and then V and then I, and those are all in the correct order from biggest to smallest, so we don't have any subtraction. So let's go ahead and add. My L is going to be a tens, right, because it's 50, and my 5 and my 1s are going to be in the ones place. So I've got 5 for 50, and I have 7. So I've got 50. Why did I just do that? I have 57. All right. See, teachers make mistakes too. All right, next one, MCCX. So MCCX, those are in the right order from biggest to smallest. M is my thousands place, C's are in my hundreds place, and X is my tens. So I have one M, so I have 1,000. I have 2 C's, which is 200, and I have 110, which is 1. Now, in this case, it would probably be helpful if we wrote it out like this, because there is a possibility that we could add incorrectly if we weren't writing out our entire number. So we have 1,210. 1,210. All right, next one, LXVII. So LXVII. Again, these are in order from biggest to smallest. We've got tens. We have L and X are both in the tens place. So I'm going to group them together. V and I are the ones place. So 50 plus 10, that's 60. And 5 plus 2 is 7. So I have 67. All right, I think we're going to get to some that are out of order. We have DCXCI. Okay, so DCXCI. So you saw there, we went out of order. We went down and went back up. Okay, so let's see which consecutive ones are out of order. Well, D and C are in the right order, and they're both in the hundreds place, right? So I'm going to put them together. But X and C are out of order. It should be CX if they're going to be added, but we have XC. So an X is tens and C is 100. So that means we're going to subtract, and they're both going to be in the tens place. And then we have a ones place. So let's do this. D and C, that's 500 plus 100, which is 600. All right. And then we have 10 and 100, but they're subtraction. So we do the bigger one minus the smaller one. All right. So 100 minus 10, which is 90, plus 1. So this is 691. All right, let's look at the next one. We have MMM, CC, XLI. Okay, so we have MMM, CC, XLI. So again, we've gone out of order. All right, so M's are my thousands. Those are together. Then we have CC, that's the hundreds place. I don't have any more hundreds there, so I'm going to group them together. And then we have X and L. Those are both going to be in the tens place, and they're out of order, which means we're going to subtract. Okay, and then we have 1 in the ones place. So we'll come to that in a second. We have 3 M's, so we have 3,000 plus 200s. Okay, now we have a 10 and a 50 in the wrong order, so we're going to do 50 minus 10, which is 40, plus 1. So our final answer will be 3,241. Okay, we have D, let's do this over here. We have DC, I hope all that wasn't out of screen, DCL, XXXI, X. Okay, so they're all in order up until the very end. So let's see here. D and C are both in the hundreds, so they're going to go together. Then L, X, 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 those are all in the tens place, so they're going to group together. And then I and X. Well, X is a 10, but it's out of order with the I, so we're going to do 10 minus 1. That's going to put us into the ones place. Okay, so DC, that's 500 plus 100, so that's 600, plus 50, 60, 70, 80, plus 10 minus 1, which is 9. So 689. Let's go in the other order. We're going to go from the number to the Roman numeral. So 120. So let's look over here. We've got 100, and then we have X is 10. So we're going to have 102 X's. So 120. Okay, another thing we can do is say here's the hundreds place, and here's the tens place, and we can work that way. Let's see how it goes. All right, 97. Okay, now 90 is going to be tricky, right? We have 100 and we have 50 and we have 10, but we don't have anything that's a 9. And there's a rule that says we can't use any letter more than 3 times in a row. So we can't do 50 plus 4 tens, like L, X, 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 X. We can't do that. We can only have 3. So that means we're going to have to do some subtraction to get that 9. Okay, so what can we subtract? Well, we can take 100 and minus off a 10, and that will give us 90. So we can have X, C, and that says 100 minus 10, and that gives us our 9. Now, how do we get 7? Well, we have 5 plus 1 plus 1, right? So V, I, and that will give us 7. So 97. All right, how about 325? So we've got our hundreds, 3. And that's the most. Remember, we can have 3 of a Roman numeral. We just can't have 4. So we can have 300s, C, C, C. Then I have 2 tens. I can do that with 2 X's. And then I have a 5. And I have 1 Roman numeral, a V, for the 5. How about 689? Well, 6, let's see. I've got a 50 and I've got a 10. So let's do that. LX. Those can go in order. How about 8? For 80. Well, I've got a 50. And I just used, that was silly, wasn't it? I just used my tens for my hundreds place. That was so silly. Let's go back here and do my 6. So 6, I need to be using my D and my C. I hope you caught that. Wait a second, go back. All right, now I've got 8. So we're going to use our L and our X because this is 80, right? So L gives us 50, and then X, X, X gives us 30. So that's 80 together, and now we have 9. We don't have a 9, but we do have, and we can't use 4 ones. So we're going to use a 10 minus a 1. So I need to do IX, right? Because they have to be out of the order in order for us to subtract. That was a big number right there. All right, let's get into something with the thousands. So I have 3 thousands. I can use 3 M's, M, M, M for my thousands. And then I've got 200. Let's see, C is 100. I can use 2 C's. I have 40 for my tens. I don't have a 40 and I can't use 4 X's. So I'm going to have to do 50 minus 10, which is XL, right? Because they have to be out of order in order to subtract. And then I've got an I at the end for my 1. All right, last one. You can do it. Keep going. All right, we've got 1,000. We have 400s, but we're not allowed to use 4 C's in a row. So let's do a 500 minus a 100, right? So CD, that means 500 minus 100. Then we have 80. I'm allowed to use 3, so we can do L, X, 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 and then my 6, I can do 5 plus 1. So V, I. And there you go. Now we've gone Roman numerals from Roman numeral to number and number to Roman numeral.